morning, everyone, and happy Saturday. My name is Callie, and this is another weekend of clarinets, cats, and coffee. So the past few weeks, we've been working our way through the Weber Concertino, and the tips I've been sharing have been applicable to anything you're learning. So if you're not interested in learning the Weber, no worries. You can transfer this stuff to whatever else you're working on. But I would love to hear if any of you guys are also working on this at the same time. Just leave a comment below and let me know how things are going for you. Now, in today's video, I'm actually going to go over a couple of things to help make slow stuff a little bit less boring. Now, if you're like me, and especially like young Callie, right? Playing slow music was like, it was so boring. It was like, I know all these notes. I know how to count whole notes. I know how to do this. This is so unimpressive. What's the point of doing this? Okay. So the problem with music, slow music being boring, isn't that it's unimpressive or you're playing long notes or whatever. It's because you're not doing anything with it, right? This is what I would tell my past self. Callie, it's because your music is boring. So I would love to go back in time and give my younger self some advice here. So these tips I'm giving you, there are 4 tips basically that I try to keep in mind whenever coaching somebody through this, especially something like this, a lento section in like a concerto, or in this case a concertino, right? So the first thing you want to do is make sure that every single note has shape and has purpose, right? And so it can be really hard to focus on what you're doing if you're not doing anything with the note except count, right? And so that's going to be a recipe for becoming distracted and bored and forgetting where you are in the music. So think about, perhaps if you have a whole note, right? Imagine what's happening before the whole note, leading into the whole note, and coming away from the whole note, what's after the whole note. Does this, like in the Weber, the second measure here in the lento section is you have this A flat whole note, and if you play this as slow as I do, it can feel like an eternity. However, the notes leading into that whole note clearly are bringing you, this whole note is clearly an arrival point, right? So if I like to move my music before these long notes to the longer notes, right, and come away. So you're always going to something and away from something, right? So I will like crescendo through the first measure and maybe decrescendo through the second measure, for example. So that brings me into tip number 2, exaggerate your dynamics. So if you're thinking about how you're going to shape your phrases, how you're going to exaggerate your dynamics, you're not going to have time to become distracted by how slow the music is. You're going to be focused on thinking about your phrase and your dynamics and what you're actually trying to say. And that brings me to the 3rd tip, which is to use dynamic shaping. So even if there are no dynamics written in, no crescendos or decrescendos written in, you should still do your own kind of dynamic shaping. Tip number 3 is very similar to tip number 1, making sure every note has purpose, every note has shape to it, but using dynamic shaping can actually be applied to much longer duration phrases rather than just single notes. And then the last tip I'm going to share with you guys is my favorite one, which is to make a conversation between you and the accompaniment part, if your music does have an accompaniment, that is. So in this case, the accompaniment quite nicely complements what the soloist is saying, and so if you're very aware of how the parts kind of fit together, you can have a little bit more fun with how you shape your own phrase so that it can sound conversational or like a call and response, you have a little bit of all of those things here in this lento section. So there you have it, you guys. It's pretty simple. To stay engaged, give yourself something to be engaged about, right? So shape every note with care and purpose. Exaggerate your dynamics. Use dynamic shaping throughout the duration of your phrases, and use conversational tactics to bring your music more to life and bring it off of the page. I hope you guys found these tips useful. I want to give a shout out to my patrons. Thank you all for supporting my channel. I really, really appreciate your enthusiasm and support for what I'm doing here. If you would like to become a patron of my channel, you can support this channel for as little as $3 a month. So there's a link below. Just head on over there and I'll gladly welcome you to the community. Now, everybody else, thank you all so much for supporting my channel and for watching my videos and sharing them. We recently reached 4,000 subscribers, which I never ever thought I would get more than even 1,000 subscribers. So this is pretty cool that we're all just kind of learning clarinet together. Thank you all again so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful weekend, a good week next week, and I'll see you next Saturday for another video in clarinets, cats, and coffee. We like to play a game called Sniff This. Sniff this. Oh, he's not interested in that. What about this? Sniff this. Oh, he likes the mouthpiece a lot more.